Let's talk real quick about angling your camera for your splits. Now, I do not have a full active split or over split. I have a moderately active split and mostly a passive split. So if I were to stand to the side and lift my leg, it comes about here. If I externally rotate, I can reach it up, but you'll see that's still not a split. I don't have a squared off split. My leg really just reaches about my hip to chest height. I have to lift it and pull it to the side. So from the side, I have an angle. And from the front, you can kind of see it's still not straight. But how do we make this look straight, especially when we're doing movements, if we want our audience or a camera to think that it's straight? We're gonna be doing this with a floor jade. If you don't know how to do that and you wanna learn, you can check out the tutorials at the studio. But this is pretty much for any split. Whether you have a full split or not, and you just wanna make it look better, I can think about angling by turning my torso, right? A little bit of a thoracic twist. I can think about oblique crunching or hip tilting. And I can think about, most importantly, where my camera is. Obviously, this doesn't work for an audience, but for a camera, it does. So right now, my camera is at my face height. If I were to walk towards my camera, you would lose less of my body, but you would see that it's about face height. In no way is it angled up or down. It's just straight about my mouth height. So I'm gonna reel on back. I'm gonna lay on the floor. And you're gonna see how a floor jade, when you're angling down at it, can look a bit different than if you're angling directly at it or up at it. So I'm all the way back by this end pole, and I'm gonna pop into my floor jade. As always, I'm thinking about popping my hip so that more of my booty is facing you, and then as I open, I'm tilting my hips so that you can get more of a straight line angle. Now, I didn't move the camera in the room, but I did drop it down about 9 to 12 inches. And I'm gonna do my floor jade in the same spot so you can see how it's a bit different. Coming back to this back pole, but not too close so that I kick it. I'm gonna do the same jade, same side, almost in the exact same spot, but the camera is lower now. So the camera, instead of being at my chin height, was more at my belly button height. So when I prop up into my jade, you can see how the angle is just slightly different. We've lowered the camera again. It's in the same spot, but another 9 to 12 inches. So we're 18 to 24 inches lower than where we started. The camera now is probably just above my knees, mid-thigh area. I'm still in a similar spot by that back pole, and I'm gonna prop into my jade. Same jade, same side. You can see that the angle is slightly different. I've dropped the camera almost as low as it goes, so it's really only a foot off the ground. You can see that if I stand all the way up and reach my hands up, you can't really see me. So this is mostly a floor view. This means that you're gonna see a lot more of the discrepancies in my split. So coming back to that same spot, this is my favorite one because it's always a little bit off. So as I pop up into my jade, you're really seeing that there's not so much of a full split here, and then it's a lot of faking. So you can see that the visual of the floor jade was a little bit different based on the height of the camera, but what happens if I angle the camera forward and back? Because right now the camera is just dead straight on. Let's talk about if the camera is up high, where it is right now, about my face height, but I angle it downward. So I'm actually tilting the camera to look down as if someone were looking down at me. And then we'll talk about lowering the camera, but angling it upward as if someone were looking up. So my camera's now angled down at the floor. That was the pole I was using for reference. So I'm not gonna go as far back. I'm gonna move my body around to help you see, but the camera is angled down at me. Now, for those of you who are interested at the angle of the camera, it's about 4.5 feet off the ground, but the angle of the camera is almost a 45-degree angle. So you'll see here when I go into my floor jade, it's the same jade as it was before, but your angle makes my split look almost like an oversplit. Now I've reset the camera. It's no longer on a tripod, it's on the floor, propped up a little bit. It's not quite at a 45-degree angle upright. It's probably more like a 30-degree angle upright, but you'll see how this changes the view of my split. So this was the pole we were originally using as reference, and I'm kind of back up where I was for the downward angle just so that you can see me, because you can notice how you see very little floor. Same jade split, same side, same angle, but the camera is low and angled upward. So as I pop into my jade, you can see a lot of those discrepancies. It doesn't look as straight, it looks more like a V, almost kind of like a straddle. And that's because of the angle of the camera. So what does this tell you when you're doing your videos? It tells you that if you're looking for your split to appear a certain way, the angle of your camera really truly does matter. If you're like me and you're just videoing because you need reference, then propping your camera or your phone on the floor, angling it upward at you is totally fine. But if you're looking for the appropriate angles, having your camera either at the height of what you're doing, so on a tripod, or even angling slightly downward if you're trying to make your split look a certain way, can be really helpful. Play around with it, and obviously lighting needs to be taken into account, but that will be in a different video. Play around with your camera, the angle of your camera, whether it's portrait or landscape, whether you have it tilted off to the side, whether it's the right height, too high, too low. You really have to Goldilocks your way through it. But let me know in the comments if this was helpful and what you found is giving you the best angle for your videos.